Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. Hey everyone, thanks for being tuned in to KPOV 88.9 FM, your high desert community radio in Bend, Oregon. I hope you're having a good day. This is Stacey Dredd, Galactic Ambassador in the Cosmic Community. That's our astrology program here on KPOV every Tuesday, 4:30 to 5 p.m., where we dive into the week's planetary and lunar energies, how we may be able to work within these influences to live in more harmony with the universe and create a more benevolent life for all. So thank you so much for making time and space in your day today to receive this message. Or if you need to access the archive to listen again later in the week or to share out with your loved ones, then you can access that at kpov.org at the Cosmic Community show page. And we are diving into the week's astrology. The energies feel a little quieter this week. There is definitely a lot of just influences creating this little pocket of space this week where there's maybe not like a lot of direct events happening between planets, but we are living within the energies that have already been created in the beginnings of October, which has been huge already. So I'm going to kind of review the last week or two, where we've been, kind of how we got to where we are right now, go through the week, and then, get us ready for the next big cycles, of course, too. So this message coming in on October 11th from the Pacific Coast of the United States, and I have been feeling into this full moon. We just had a big full moon in Aries on October 9th, and that was at 16 degrees of Aries. And the full moon is when the moon and the sun oppose each other, direct opposition in the astrology chart. Right now, we have the sun in Libra. The sun is our main kind of filter, our expression, our the sort of the zeitgeist of the time. So we're in Libra season, and we are very much diving into these Libran themes of relationships and balance and harmony and finding peace. We have Venus at home, just a few degrees away from the sun all week. So we are building to a conjunction between the sun and Venus, but we're just so close already. And Venus rules the sign of Libra, making these expressions within relationships and making this a main theme for us right now. And then we have the oppositional energies. The moon was hanging out in Aries. That is a fiery sign. Aries is one of the great initiation energies. It's the first sign of the zodiac, so very much for making really good new starts, new beginnings. And so we have this oppositional energy between the moon and the sun, making this full moon on Sunday, October 9th. Really interesting. The axes between Aries and Libra, they're very much about relationships. Aries is about our ego and our personality, and very much our relationship with ourself and our own personality and our own persona. And then Libra is the sign of, two people in a relationship, the back and forth relationship energies. And so every time that we have this Aries Libra axis activated, try and say that 3 times fast, we definitely we just explore our relationships. We have right now also Mercury just leaving the sign of Virgo. That took place just a day after the full moon on October 10th. So this was just yesterday. And, Mercury in Virgo can definitely do the work. It's a lot of work for Mercury to be in Virgo because Virgo is a mental energy and Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. And so we've been having a lot of contemplation lately. There's just been a really good opportunity for Mercury and our minds. That what Mercury represents in astrology is our minds, our thinking processes, the way that we think, quick, slow, it takes us a long time to make decisions or a quick time, all this is affected by the way that the planets move through these signs. So Mercury it has a hard time in Virgo because Virgo is all about just like thinking, contemplating, making plans, really getting the work done. And so now we have Mercury leaving that sign, entering into the sign of Libra. And Libra is an air sign. Opens up the windows and kind of lets the pressure out a little bit. So Mercury just has had just a really good opportunity the last day or so to take some deep breaths and to know that there is life after Virgo and that the work was great, and really glad that we had the opportunity there. But now it's time to refresh and to move into some new territory. So, Mercury in Libra. Now we're going to be working with these energies. And like I said, Libra is a sign of relationships. So we're going to be communicating more within our relationships while Mercury is in Libra. We're going to be communicating more about our relationships. We're going to be communicating about the fairness and equality within relationships. Fairness, equality, balance, justice. Those are all Libran terms. And so we are deep in the depths of Libra season, and that full moon in Aries really brought up some big energies over the weekend. I know that I was experiencing them myself, and I was hearing from a lot of different people that just the people that they had in their days were just over the top energies, and so this was something I was hearing over the weekend and still coming in, because we feel these big full moons 5 days in and 5 days going out. So really we're kind of riding down the back end of this full moon hill right now, but definitely still up in these heightened full moon energies. And another reason that these energies are so hot right now and are so volatile, and this Aries energy is really popping over the top, is because we have Jupiter in the sign of Aries. Jupiter is in a retrograde motion right now. Jupiter is traveling backwards. It's at about 2 degrees of Aries, but wherever Jupiter resides, he leaves off his big over the top energies. These are great energies to have when they're, fully intended benevolently. And, we've really contemplated, our motivations in everything that we're doing. But Jupiter is a little debilitated right now in retrograde. So we haven't had as good of an ability to sort of filter ourselves out to know when we're maybe going a little over the top, or maybe we're not going over the top enough. Stacy Dread, Galactic Ambassador in the cosmic community here, 444444 all over my clocks. That means that it's just a good moment. The number 4 is a reminder to me that, yeah, I'm in a good moment. The universe is saying, yeah, you're doing the right thing right now. So I'm very happy to be able to disseminate this astrological information to you over the radio every Tuesday. And we have next week a big opportunity for you to give back to us here at KPOV. We have our fall membership drive coming up next week. So I have a full hour program. I love it. It's my tradition. Every pledge drive, I actually start at 4:00 and go through to the 5:00 hour. So next week, make sure to set your clocks and your reminders for this astrology program to remind you to listen right at 4:00, because that's when I'm going to be starting. I am going to have a special guest on my show. I'm going to have Amy from the KPOV staff here in the studio doing all the pledging with me and keeping me on track when it comes to that. But we're also going to dive into her astrological birth chart. And I don't know if you remembered 6 months ago, we had Sam, another KPOV staff member, here in the studio with me for the full hour. Well, we did about like a 15-20 minute, really just focused on her. And so that's what I'm going to do again, but with Amy this time. She's very excited and a little nervous. And I like that, because that means that like you actually care a little bit. You know, if you're kind of like nervous to see like your birth chart because it's like kind of been chalked up to you a little bit, oh my gosh, I'm kind of nervous about what I might actually find in there. Just know that like it's all for the benevolent flow of your life. And so the universe only gives us what we need right in the moments that we need it. And I truly trust and believe in that. And so, Amy, I'm excited to dive into your birth chart with you. And also, I'm excited to be able to make some money for the station. So tune in at 4 p.m. next week to the Cosmic Community. And it would be so amazing for people to step up during our fall membership drive and support the station. So that's a big message coming through, because I was just talking about Jupiter in Aries. This is a big energy. Aries energy is big already. I mean, it's like when you say I come in with a bang, well, Aries does every time. Aries comes in with a bang, and it's great. It's because of their confidence and just they just stick those horns out there and just go for it. And that's a beautiful energy to be able to tap into. And Jupiter in Aries is making this even bigger. So knowing this is half the battle, right? We get to know that the energies are big and maybe a little even, dare I say, out of control. But with so many retrograded planets and just things being kind of slippy and a little bit muddy in the retrograde time, you know, we just need to make sure that we're taking extra time to consider our motivations, our intentions in every moment, in every interaction, in every relationship, and make sure that we're just allowing ourselves to be surrendered in that moment. That's what the Venus in Libra is also all about, is about surrender. And so we trust, right? We can just surrender and trust. And so big Jupiter big energy from Jupiter, and it's fiery. So that is still happening. Mercury is still in an opposition to this Jupiter also. Mercury's been coming out of retrograde. Now I'm kind of moving my charts later in the week. I'm moving to, let's see, Friday. Oh, let's just go Saturday the 15th and see what we've got there. Saturday the 15th brings us a conjunction between Mars and the moon. And Mars is another planet that is traveling very, very slowly right now. Mars is the warrior god of the planets. He's that warrior god archetype. He is the go-getter. The sign is like the male symbol, right? The circle with the arrow pointing out of it. And so it's an intentional energy. It's like it's always going somewhere and doing something. Mars represents our physical body and the way that we use our physical body, the way that we do things. And when Mars is traveling through different signs, it exhibits these different behaviors based on where he is. And Mars is traveling very slowly, slowing down to go retrograde in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is maybe not the most natural sign for Mars to be in because Gemini is, Mars has that one arrow pointing out, so it's like directional, right? It's going somewhere in a linear fashion. Well, Gemini is kind of the opposite of that. Gemini is actually the only sign of the zodiac that's represented by two of something, and it's all about the twins. Gemini is about the back and forth. And so when you have Gemini energy at play, you usually have choices. It's either that or this, or we can talk about this, or we can talk about that, or we could, bring up some information about this, or here's another bit of information. So Gemini is sort of a back and forth energy, and Mars can be a little frustrated with that, right? Mars just wants to kind of choose what's going on, choose what he wants to choose, make the decision, and like go toward it. And Gemini is like, but did you consider this? And there's also this other option. So it's a frustrating place for Mars. And Mars is going to be here for 6 months because of this retrograde motion. And in my opinion, on the 15th of October, it's Saturday this week, we are going to have sort of a pang of reality at how slow things are not progressing right now, how slowly things are progressing right now, how not quick things are progressing right now. And so there's going to be some irritability with this. And it's going to last a little while. But the best thing that we can do is just to know that this too shall pass, and that Mars spending a little time in Gemini, exploring the options may not be such a bad thing. Mars rules the sign of Aries. Aries just wants to do things now. Let's just make our decision and just go toward it. And Mars is kind of being halted from this a little bit. And we're going to be really coming into some feelings about this over the weekend as the moon makes this conjunction with Mars in Gemini. The moon rules our feelings and our emotions and is a very watery, this could even be some tears when Mars and the moon meet up. That's like crying, right? And so this can be cleansing. This can be definitely a benevolent situation. And so, yeah, we'll definitely be looking at Mars's retrograde, like I said, for the next 6 months. So that one is just going to have to kind of sit in the pocket for a little while, and we're going to have to remember that, why isn't something moving? Oh yeah, okay, we're still finishing this retrograde. We're going to be reminding of ourselves of that for a little while. But looking at next week, we have Mercury finally leaving the retrograde shadow also over the weekend. So by next week, we're really going to be feeling some forward momentum in regards to some of these Libran themes, these relationships, finding equality, balance, fairness within relationships. And, that's not just relationships between people, like that can be two countries' relationships with each other, or two companies' relationships, business relationships, even the relationships between our muscles and our physical body, building those connective things. So, really finding that back and forth right now with so much of this air energy and so much Gemini and Libra energy. It's very social. It feels very social, yet still so not totally sure that I'm ready to be so social yet. So, keep feeling into it, and I trust that you will definitely make the right decision, because our intuition is very strong right now. It's very heightened, and if we can sit still in these moments and truly feel into where we're at, where we'd like to go, how we might be able to get there. And then by the time that, Mars is taking some more forward movement, we're going to have it all ready, to go. So that's kind of how I see it. I see it as a little bit of a slower execution period, almost like the planning is even done, and we're just waiting for that right moment to execute. So, I hope that message makes sense to you, and I really appreciate you being tuned in to the Cosmic Community today. And if you have any questions for me, you can definitely email me at thecosmiccommunity@kpov.org. Would love to hear from you. And don't forget, I'm going to be starting the show at 4:00 next week. So set your phone alarm to a half hour earlier, and I will talk to you next week and be hearing from y'all if it's time for you to get your memberships all updated here at KPOV. All right. I appreciate you. Have such a great week. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.